webinar. You have entered as an organizer and may now speak to any other organizers or panelists on the line. When you are ready to begin the presentation, press the Start Broadcast button on the GoToWebinar control panel to allow all attendees to hear you. This system will notify you once you begin your broadcast.
Hello everybody, I'm sorry I was a bit late. I was on another PASS call just before this one. Thank you very much for joining us. Now the focus of today's session is we're going to look at soft skills, and it's really about trying to how you can manage the VC, and hopefully you'll get some tips and tricks. Again, at the end we'll have a Q&A, so if anybody's got any comments or questions or thoughts on how we can make this process easier for everyone, please do let me know. So I'll just share some community news. Hopefully most people attending this session will be at PASS Summit next week, and if you are, I'm really looking forward to seeing you all. I love coming to PASS, it's a highlight of my year, and I will see you there. So I just thought I'd raise that there are a number of virtual chapters. I know that a lot of people online are VC leads. You should keep looking back to see if you have any other new virtual chapters joining. We're adding them all the time. So hopefully you might see some other sessions that will interest you or interest your audience. So here's just a number of select virtual chapter meetings. Now we do have an awful lot, and I recommend you look at segopass.org. Just a few here. High availability and disaster recovery, that's a new one we set up this year, and that's introduction to log shipping. And I'm not going to even pretend I can pronounce the Spanish one, but there is a Spanish one on the 12th of November. And we have business analytics with Kevin Goff. We will be looking at Excel features that DB developers should know about. And we have DB fundamentals as well with Amy Levin. And Amy actually runs the in-memory virtual chapter as well. So thank you, Amy, for your support. Alright, so we have lots and lots of SQL Saturday events around the place. So November the 1st is Oregon. We have quite a few in the US coming up. And in Europe we have London BA Edition. I can't tell you how happy I am to see that, because that's my SQL Saturday. I'm running that one. We are absolutely full, and we have a very long waiting list. So if you're in the area, I can only ask that you add yourself to the waiting list. I'm sorry, we were completely oversubscribed. And there are some in other parts of the world as well. So volunteering with PASS. I must admit that volunteering with PASS is one of the best things I ever did. I just made so many friends through it. And really what you get out of it is just exactly what you put into it. I've just made so many friends, and it's really, you know, brightens my days and nights. So if you are thinking about volunteering, please do get in touch. And you don't have to be a speaker always. You can do all sorts of things, and lots of people already do. So, oops, that looks like it's going to the website. Oops, we don't want it to do that. Sorry about that. Let's kill that. Alright, so the PASS Volunteer Awards. So we have, every month there's an outstanding PASS volunteer, at least one. So last month we had Paris Doche and we had Dan English. They both run the Business Analytics virtual chapter, and I was delighted that they won that award. I was really happy for them. And we have the Passion Award winner as well. So that's our Creme de la Creme award. So I won that 2 years ago, and I think Wendy Pastrick won it the year before that. I can't remember, but yes, it's a really a gem of an award. So if you're not a member of PASS, you can sign up for a free membership at segopass.org. One thing that surprised me was when I started doing the virtual chapters pathways, how many people were joining the pathway sessions who are not VC leaders, and as far as I'm aware, not chapter leaders as well. If you're just joining in to find out more about what we do, then you're more than welcome, and hopefully we'll hear from you sometime. Okay, so that's me. Jen Stirrup. I do all sorts of things, and my photograph is there. just so you know what I look like. Alright, so I just wanted to talk a little bit about a number of things. The first thing was about marketing your virtual chapter. Now, one thing we've really tried to do with the virtual chapters this year is we've tried to make everything consistent. So the reason for that is a brand, which is quite a strong brand, can become even more effective if everything looks consistent. So we did all sorts of nice things. So we standardized some of the logos, we reskinned some of the virtual chapter pages, and I think that process is ongoing. That's something that Denise started when she ran the virtual chapter portfolio last year. So the thing is that up to that point, I think the virtual chapter websites were a bit like herding cats. Everyone had their own way of doing things, and some of them it's quite difficult to find the information. So we've tried to make everything just as easy and simple as possible for people to use, and also to find the information that they need really, really quickly. So I'm just going to come out of the slideshow, and I'm going to show you. I'll show you first of all the BI website. So bi.sequelpass.org. There we go, that's the one. Alright, so you can see here I've got .NET Nuke running. I am no .NET Nuke expert. I will start by saying that. But what I like about it is, now that I've learned how to drag and drop and use the bits and pieces, I've talked about this in an earlier virtual chapter pathway, what I like about it is it starts to look consistent. And once you've done it a few times, what I like about it is that it will take your events and it will post them up on the site automatically for you. So that saves you having to do it every single month. Another thing that we've started in the BI virtual chapter, and some of the other VCs do this as well, is we have our own YouTube channel as well. So this is something that we set up here. And you can see that's our website there, Pass BI VC. Now we did this for a few reasons. First of all, we wanted to make our content more searchable. So the thing with the SQL Pass website is that there's no real search facility for looking across all of the great content that Pass produce. So say, for example, you want to find out more about Power Pivot. And what you might want to do is look at the SQL Saturday website, you might want to look at Virtual Chapter website, you might want to look at any chapter meetings that talk about Power Pivot, but it's quite hard to look across the breadth, the sheer breadth of information that Pass actually produce, and not just across topics, but across different languages as well. So I think that's something that hopefully we'll address in the future, but for the moment we're just trying to go down the YouTube route for the virtual chapters. The reason for that is just it's so easy to search and find the information that we need. So these are some of the sessions that we've put up. We've put up now and again. I've just had a question from Wendy. If there are any cross-country issues in seeing YouTube, there might possibly be. I'm not sure. I've not heard of any problems specifically with the virtual chapter sessions. The only thing that sometimes YouTube can be banned in people's workplaces. Certainly I've worked in organisations where they don't have YouTube. So what I think we'll probably do is we'll go back to loading them in two places. So we'll load them in the presentation archive, which is here. Sorry, it's taking a little bit of time to upload. And then putting them in YouTube as well, so that they're in both places. I'm sorry that's taken so long to load. We'll come back to that. So we can see here, we can tend to take feedback back from the community as well. What I like about YouTube as well is we can reach people who are not past members. And we can start to see that some of the virtual chapters, some of them like this one have got 28 views, some of them have got much more than that. So here we've got Matthew Roche's 176 views here. And here's my one here, 220. That's cute. That's cool. So It's just a different way of trying to market the virtual chapter. It means you can also publicize it in Google as well if you use that. So it's quite easy to set up a new channel. So we've got my channel here. We've got channels here. We've got the menu here, so we can start to set up your own channel. Now, what I tend to do is use the logo for the PASS BIVC, and we make sure it's the same one as we have here. It's about just trying to keep it all consistent so the users know exactly where they are. One question we do get a lot, people ask, where can I find the downloads? How can I get access to that? And just by pointing them to the YouTube channel just simply means that the question starts almost to go away. People will start to look up YouTube and find it on their own. Now, one thing we do use is GoToConverter in order to squash up the presentation so that it fits in YouTube, because what you might find is that it doesn't actually get squashed up and compressed properly. That's an issue if the recording isn't very good. So again, I've asked PASS IT for some help in order to try and work out how we can optimize that. I must admit I'm not an expert in recording and sounds and compression and so on. So if anybody's got any ideas how we can make that better, I'd be more than happy to hear from you as well. If you're looking for a model virtual chapter and how they do it, what you can do is we've got the PASS BIVC, so I've got my subscriptions here, and we have subscribed to the PASS Business Analytics virtual chapter. So Paris and Dan English are the owners of this one, so let's see if we can find that. Yes, so what we have here is PASS BIVC. And they've done such a nice job of these, I think. We can see the popular channels on the right hand side, but you can see the websites are all here. We've also got a bit about the chapter itself, and we've also got a link so people can go off and find out more about the site if they want. We've got the discussions as well. There's no comments at the moment. One thing we're trying to do in the PASS BIVC is we're trying to use playlists. So if we go back to my channel, for example, no, we don't want that one. We want the PASS one. What I'm trying to do is something a bit similar to what we're doing at PASS Summit, trying to do pathways. And what I'm trying to do is make some playlists so people can actually look at the content available to them by the virtual chapter and just perhaps run through a particular playlist. So for example, if we look at Power BI, I'm not going to play them all. Oops. Sorry, that started me as well. So what we have here is a number of videos of just something we've started to do, and what I'm hoping will happen is over time these will grow, and that will help people to, beginners particularly, just to find particular sessions that they like. So Andre has come up with a comment. For YouTube channels, you can short the name like youtube.user.russianvc. Yes, you can make the name shorter. I'm not sure how we do that actually. If it's okay, I will take that away and try to find out. I'm not sure how we make the name shorter, because you're right, when we set up YouTube it gives you this awful URL as well. But what we can do somehow, and I will find that out, is try to work out a nice name for that to work. So I'm sorry I don't have the answer to that, but I'll try and find out for you, Andre. I hope that's okay. So let's go back here. So Twitter is a great way of publicising the virtual chapter. You can actually set up automated tweets. Now there are different ways of doing it. So for tweet automation, there are different ways, and I'll just try and remember who I use. I use SocialInf. So I use SocialInf, but there are other ways of doing it. You can sign up for a free account, and then once you've signed up for a free account, it allows you to schedule a number of tweets for a period of time. So I recommend these sort of sites because once you've set them up, you can kind of leave it and then it's done for you. So if you're not a Twitter fan, it might be worth just setting up a site like this and then just try and set up the number of tweets for the next month. I tend to just copy and paste and then schedule them, so that's something that's quite easy to use. Another site is Reddit. Now I spoke to Ike Ellis. Ike is actually responsible for the Book Readers virtual chapter, and Ike said he'd got quite a few new members using Reddit for his website. So if that appeals to you, that's something you could try as well. I haven't personally used it, but I have used Twitter. Something else that might be nice is to actually have a Facebook site for the virtual chapter. Now I haven't tried this personally. It's something I'm looking at doing. People are on Facebook and sometimes they interact on it. I think it's just different ways of trying to market and publicise your VC. I'm not the biggest Facebook fan. Just simply I find there's too much going on there. I can't keep up usually, but maybe Facebook is a way in which your delegates might like to interact. Again, you can post up videos and things on YouTube as well, so maybe you can start to link off to your YouTube channel and Facebook, again using the branding. So just to summarise for the YouTube channel, we can use GoToConverter to compress the video. You can set up a YouTube channel quite easily, so wizard to do that. I'd recommend you use the past logo as well, and I've given you an example of the BIVC and the BAVC as well. So in terms of speakers, one perennial problem for all of the virtual chapters actually is trying to get speakers. Now, sometimes people reach out to me individually to see if I can help them to find some speakers. That's no problem at all. My email address is there, so please don't hesitate to get in touch. Sometimes be careful what you wish for. So the Cloud virtual chapter asked for some speakers and I got them 22 people. So they had enough speakers to keep them going for almost 2 years, which was great. So the Security VC needed some extra speakers recently. I got them about 5 or 6 really good sessions. So it's always worth asking. Ask me if you like, I don't mind. Also, if you know any MVPs or you are an MVP, don't hesitate to use the MVP distribution list. People there will contact you, or they will ask other people on your behalf. So that's another way of trying to get good speakers. Something I'm trying to do is to get a Microsoft GoToContact for every single virtual chapter. So I've managed to do this for some of the VCs such as Excel, and we've done that for Cloud. I'm just trying to go around and find people who will help to look after the other virtual chapters. I should say that Microsoft have been very supportive about this. We started to put some in place, and then Summit came up, and so did TechEd. So these have taken priority, but once these events are out the way, hopefully you'll start to individually get a Microsoft contact for each virtual chapter, and that person will basically help you and they'll try and find you internal Microsoft speakers. So if you are a bit stuck for a speaker, that's another route as well. So hopefully that will help a little bit. Now, in terms of recruiting speakers, I tend to just go and ask people, and then I ask them to sign up really quickly. The reason for that is people say they'll do it, and then 99 times out of 100 they usually forget. And you have to go and chase them. So what I would do is, just when you do get people, sign them up really quickly. Next week is MVP Summit and SQL Pass Summit as well. If you are a VC leader, just grab some of the existing speakers who are already giving sessions, or just ask people. We are having dedicated virtual chapter sessions at the community zone as well, and that's maybe another good place to recruit speakers. So there's lots of different ways of doing it, and that's just a few ideas that might be able to help you to find some. Okay, so now we've actually just got an updated virtual chapter sponsorship package. if you want to email me for a copy, please do. My email address is just there. We're still in the process of reviewing the sponsorship package. Now, I must admit, I don't tend to deal so much with sponsorships. And the reason for that is just simply, I tend to ask Craig Ellis and Al Schuler to pick up that for me, just simply because that's their roles and I don't want to interfere. They already do a great job and I don't want to go in and meddle, so I leave them to it. They're the experts. So if you get a company who are interested in sponsoring you, if you let me know, I will try and put you in touch with the right people. So sometimes companies will try to sponsor individual sessions. I'm not very comfortable with that. I do try and get them to sponsor the whole virtual chapter. Because actually as sponsorship goes, it's not very expensive. Also, they also get mentioned on YouTube as well. So it tends to be their sponsorship is their presence and their support of the virtual chapter. So the sponsors that we have already, people like Pragmatic Works, for example, they've been fantastic sponsors. They regularly support us by giving out book tokens, but they never ever dictate the content, and they are just they just allow us to lead the virtual chapter. That's for the BIVC, and they support us in everything that we do. And it's wonderful to have their support. They've been really magic. And I think it feels like a real partnership when we deal with Pragmatic Works. And if we can get more sponsors like that, I'd be so happy. Just because it really does feel that both that they are really doing a community benefit, and that community benefit is felt globally because the virtual chapters obviously are worldwide. And so we do constantly try and look for new sponsors for each of the virtual chapters. It's something that's ongoing, and the fact that we've generated a new sponsorship package should let you know that we have a commitment to trying to find sponsors for the VCs going forward. So we don't sponsors don't buy sessions, we don't give sales material, we don't do sales. The virtual chapters live or die by their content, really. Now we do get new speakers and that's fine. And we do get very experienced speakers who sometimes the sessions don't go to plan, and that happens as well. These things happen. But what we don't do is sales content, because people come to the virtual chapters really expecting to have technical content, and they're not expecting to be sold to. So that's why I don't tend to allow third parties to do sales presentations for the virtual chapters, because you'll put everybody off, and it would be a real shame. Now, in terms of giveaways, I tend to reserve the giveaways as being the remit of the sponsor who is sponsoring the virtual chapter. It's just a cleaner model, because otherwise we can start to get into a mess between one company doing one thing, one company doing something else. We don't want them to conflict with one another by doing different things or giving out different messages. So it's a very simple message with the virtual chapters. We stick to technical content. The giveaway, we just allow the sponsor to do that. They don't always do giveaways anyway, or we allow Microsoft to do it. So that's why we do it that way. It's just cleaner, and it's a partnership. It really is a community benefit which the sponsors allow us to have. Now, we've got a bloggers list for people who blog about PASS, and you can look at that up in the PASS website. We've got lots of people who are community bloggers. It's a nice way of evangelising your session. Please do feel free to contact them directly to see if they would mind publicising your virtual chapter, or perhaps publicising individual sessions that might be interesting to them. Don't be frightened of asking any speakers to blog about the session as well. They usually can. So I would let them join in the fun and let them blog as well. So if you need any help with that, I can send you the link. So you can see the bloggers. There are people who can really help you to to work with the virtual chapters. These are things which have worked for me. I don't know if anyone's got any comments on what might have worked with them. I'm just going to double check to see if there's any questions, because I did say I'd take questions at the end. And I don't see any. I don't see any in the chat window either. So what I will do is I will put my email address back up, and I will leave that. So if you have any questions about anything regarding running the virtual chapters, please don't hesitate to get in touch. And there's my email address. That's usually the best way to contact me. I am based in the UK, so if you are emailing in a non-European time zone, they might be a bit later in replying. But if you have any comments or any feedback, then please don't hesitate to get in touch. But with that, I don't see any questions, so I will wrap it up there. So wherever you are in the world, good morning, good evening and good night, and I look forward to seeing you at a virtual chapter session soon. Thanks. Bye.